Hello everyone, this is Christian Mount Exciton Interactive, and in this video we are going to create sort of reusable code that we can use to retrieve for instance, a security from our store and have its category and market properties, our fields here, already set. As you remember, we've set them to null to begin with and only retained the IDs for each of the category and market. So in an example here, we'll have a getter decorator, which when we use it will then allow us to have a field that, like I said, just gets populated by the securities and categories with their underlying fields populated. So if we look in the dev tools here, we'll see, for instance, for say categories down here, when we look in the category, the segment is populated by an object, territory, and type. Same with our securities, which have a category and market set. They're no longer set to null, and that's all being taken care of through the use of some Vuex getters. Alright, before we get started here, I do want to say thank you for taking the time to watch the video. Another thank you if you're a subscriber, and if you're not a subscriber, I hope that you will consider subscribing to the channel. With that being said, let's go ahead and get started here. First thing that we're going to do is come into our views folder, new file. We're going to create a new view, securities.view. For the moment, we're just going to make a template, put a simple div in there, securities, just so we'll be able to see that it's working. Close that. We're going to want another button in our main navigation there at the bottom. So we're going to need another icon. So if we go into our features, font awesome, the icon that we're going to use here is money bill. So let's import the money bill and then add that to our library. So now we are free to use that money bill icon. We're going to want, since we have a new view, we need a new route. So let's go into components, routing. First in our types, so in our enums here, we're going to make a securities option. And then inside of our routing service, let's create a new route. Copy that, put it down here, call it securities. Copy that, we need it there, there. This one, securities. At this point in time is when I realize that account is not accounts, but I'm going to ignore that. Securities. So it points to our securities view. And of course, to use it, we need to put it down here. So securities. So now we have a route / securities that's available, which if you notice on the side there, since I've already tested things, we're sitting on the route and it's working. So this one. So we see our securities there. Okay, but we need to add the button. So we do that in the main nav. So there's a main nav here, and here's where we're specifying our buttons. Come down here, the icon was money-bill. Give a text of securities. And securities. We do need to add a private read-only securities. Routes.securities. Save that. Seems to be working correctly. So if we start off on our home page, we can click the securities button, everything works fine. So that part is working. So we have our new view. Now we're going to have to worry about showing stuff on that view. So a couple of things that we're going to show are the securities and the categories. And we'll also show the others, the markets, territories, and whatnot. But for the securities and categories, since we have those properties that are initially set to null, we want to set those to the correct value whenever we bring those in. And we're going to do that using some getters, Vuex getters. So first off, we're going to go into our store-constants.ts file. We're going to add some more, surprisingly enough, constants. So we'll add one for getting securities, getting an individual security, getting categories, and an individual category. We'll save that. And next up, store types. So we have store types, not security types, store types. So we have our store action tree. What we're going to now create is a getter tree, and we'll create a export type store getter tree, a store state, save that. So we now have our store getter tree. Now we will go into our security types. At the top here, we will import some stuff. So the stuff that we're going to import here are the constants that we just created for the getters. Let's just copy and paste them up there. And now we want to export an interface, just as we did here for the state. Export interface security getters. And so we'll have a getter securities. So that's going to return a security model array. Getter security, so the individual one, that's going to return a function. When you pass on the number, the ID, you'll get a security model. The same sort of thing for the categories. So that will give you a category model array. And the individual one gives you the same function that takes in the ID and returns to you a security category model. So we'll save that. And where the real work happens, real coding happens here, is in the security module file here. And so we want to import those constants again. More constants, so those are our getters. And we have our state coming in down here. Let's bring in the interface for the getters. All right, so we're exporting our state down here. Whoops, went overboard with those. Export const securities getters, which is an I security getters. All right, so what we're going to use, or we're going to obviously specify these four getters here. The plural ones are the ones that return the arrays. We're going to make use of the individual ones to populate everything. So that's where we're going to start off with. And as a matter of fact, while we're doing it, to create a security, we're going to have to be able to get a category. So we're going to start with the singular category version. So we'll be presented with the state, which is the I store state. Did I miss? Oh, guess I did miss pulling that in. I did, because I pulled in the securities there. So I store state, you go up there. Feel like I should have already had that. Anyway. Oh, sorry, I deleted something that I needed. I was going off the rails already. So we brought in the constants. What I forgot to bring in was the store types that I needed. Okay, so now, and that's because this was not supposed to be iSecurity getters. That was supposed to be store getter tree. Okay, everything's I think back the way it was supposed to be. So let's deal with this. So we're getting our single getter. So we need, as we said, we were going to return a function which takes in an ID, which is a number, and then that is going to return our category. So we say const category, and that's equal to the state. So which one? Categories dot items dot find. Which one are we looking for? The one that has the ID equal to the ID that was passed in to us. Now that find could be undefined, so we'll say if category, if type of category, if that's equal to undefined, then we'll just say throw new error unable to find category with ID. All right, so now instead of typing them out here, I want to type in those statements first. We'll do this. So we need a const segment, and that's going to be a state. We look for the segments one, same deal, find which one, x.id, and that equals category.segment ID. Again, that could be undefined because I don't want to type that again. So I thought about making a function that we do, a function that will throw an error. So we just provide a few things and I have to keep typing this. But the compiler is not smart enough to know that I've checked to see if the segment is undefined or not, and then we have to use the exclamation point, so, whichever one you prefer. Let's find the territory now, which is the state, and look for the territory .items.find x.id, and that's category.territory ID. So let's bring in our undefined throw error there. I think you've got the idea now. Do the same thing for the type. So look for the security types. Find it by looking for category.typeID. If it's not found, throw the error. And next we'll then say return category. And we're going to say we have a set segment method, segment.set territory, set type. So now we should have a fully populated category. So with that done, we can then turn to our security, the individual security. Again, we'll get a state, which is the store state. And we need to return the function again. So const security equals state and state securities dot items dot find dot ID equals ID. So now we have our security, and now we have our throw error. One we haven't seen yet, so if we want to find the category now, what we're doing is, because I forgot to bring something in. So in addition to being provided the state automatically, we also get the getters. And these are security getters. So we can use those to say, so getters, what we want to do is to get a category. So getter category. And again, that's going to provide us a function. So we want to pass in the number, and that's security dot category ID. And of course, it'll throw if it has any problems. We need to do the same thing for the market. So look in the market state, find the one that has the security.market ID. If there isn't one, throw an error, turn security, and we need to set category, and that is the category, set market of market. So now we have the ability to get individual securities and individual categories. We're in a position now where we can do the returning of the arrays. So let's get securities now. So securities, what we'll do is just take state, I store state, and then we'll take getters, which is I security getters, and put our comma here. Now we just return state, and we look for the securities, take the items, map the items. We map them using getters of type getter security, in which we have to pass in the ID. So we pass in that ID. So now we have securities, and we'll do the same thing here. Let's just snag that for categories. So the categories, we look in the category state, map everything there using getters for the single category, passing in the ID. So we save that. Now let's go to store types. So we have the iStoreState here. What we're going to do is make one for getters as well. So we have our security state coming in here, iSecurity getters. Let's create our state, or up here. Export interface, store getters, extends security getters. And break the rules here. Sorry, TSLint for now. It's just going to be empty. All right, and we're going now to the store. So up here we have the security state coming in. So now we have our security getters. So const getters, security getters. Whoever put these things in some crazy non-alphabetical order. And now we just put in getters. So now our store, we have access to the getters through the store. Of course, we're all about making our life easier. So if we go into the decorators file that we created previously, I'm going to redo this. I'm just going to disable that and enable that. Points for whoever noticed this extra Y here at the beginning there. So it's not a decoratory factory. So we'll just get rid of that extra Y there. And export const getter create decorator factory. It's computed. I skipped a step already. We're doing getters, so we'll use the map getters little helper up there. Pass in the map getters and save that. So now we have access to a getter decorator. So if we go to our securities view here, and what we'll do is going to not bring in a class-based one, but we're going to do it anyway. Oh no, we get the class one. And what it is securities. Okay. So we have all that. We do need a couple things. So import from store. We need the getter. You're not going to help me out. Fine. So we need the constants for getter for securities and categories, the getter decorator, our model for category and model for securities. So now we can come down here and say getter, which one? Getter securities, private, read-only securities. And that's going to be security model array. And getter categories, private, read-only. And that's a category model array. So now, just to be able to check that everything is in fact working the way it's supposed to, we're going to take a look at our created lifecycle hook and just log this.securities and console.log this.categories. We'll save that. Go back to our dev tools. I've already got it up there. It's already shown there, but refresh anyway. So we have a couple of arrays here. Bottom array being our categories. Does it get any bigger? Nope. So the category has a segment. It's not null. It has a territory and it has a type. So all that seems to be working correctly. Inside of our securities, we have a category, we have a market, and we have, all the other stuff, right? So that all seems to be working correctly now. So we have the ability, or in this video we saw how to create some getters that we can use to populate the fields on our models or properties on our models, without having to do it each time. And of course, I think in the next video we're going to deal with being able to display this data. So not only the categories and the securities, we also have the markets and territories, types, and all that. So, but until the next video, I will talk to you later. Thank you for taking the time to watch our video. I know that your time is valuable. If you liked the video, please subscribe to our channel and click the thumbs up button, as well as share the video with your friends. If you have any comments, questions, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments section below. And once again, thank you, and I will talk to you in the next video.